So on today's YouTube video, I'm going to show you 5 things that you should do on your Mark V Golf GTI or any Mark V platform, any 2-litre TFSI, if your engine looks like this. So I've bought this car second hand, obviously. You got to think these vehicles are now anything from 17 years old to whatever. They started in 05. I believe they stopped in 08, something like that. So yeah, today I'm going to be doing cam belt and water pump, thermostat. That's 2 things that you should do. So number 1, cam belt and water pump. I always complain about the way people work on cars and the crap stuff that they do, and then the stuff that I have to deal with. So obviously I bought this car knowing it needed a little bit of work, but it is a good base for what I want to do, for what it's going to be used for. Flaky paint everywhere. It's a bit of a crappy paint job on the front bumper, but that's not an issue. I mean, I'm probably going to end up having to repaint the front bumper anyway. The wings are going to be done because of the rust. You can see here, like, headlights all out of alignment, the gaps are all funny. This headlight is loose. So yeah, I think I showed you guys this before. Headlight is very loose. If you look here, they've even put spacers or washers there to try and take up the slack. So something tells me that the bolt or the screw that goes through the slam panel has just pulled the thread out of the slam panel, and potentially the same on the lower part, or headlight bracket broken or something. But that's not why I pulled the camera out. I pulled the camera out so you guys can see. I had to do something similar to this a few weeks back on someone's car. We've got six bolts. Where are they? Here's 2 of them. Sorry, blinding you guys. So here are 2 of them. Hex key bolts, or hex heads. And what people do is when they tighten them, they don't torque them, they gun them up. And what happens is they end up rounding the head so that when it's time to undo them again, it's not possible. So I'm having to smash on one of my tools that is not the correct tool for the job to try and get this out. So here we go. Let's see how we get on here. Let's just set up the torch. Got a good view. I've got the impact driver here. I'm going to put on the extension bar, and I'm going to try and crack this now by giving it a fair old whack. I've done this last time. Oh, there we go. So I managed to get that off. Last time I managed to smash my hand and it hurt pretty bad. But yeah, you get an idea of what I've had to do. I've had to smash an oversized Torx piece into that. So we will be ordering 6 new bolts for this. So I'll leave that one in because I need to set up the timing marks anyway. But this is the progress. We have got alternator tensioner out. Bolts are loose on the top cover. Engine mounts out. Expansion tank bottle is out of the way. Just got to undo a couple more bolts down here that do the casings. I've got to raise the engine, take the engine mount out, and I can crack on with the water pump. What I'm also going to do while I'm there, I am going to do the thermostat housing because it's pretty much right next to it. I've got the brand new thermostat housing here, so that will go in. Boom, there we go. That's another thing that the TFSI suffer with. So I'm going to do cam belt and thermostat this time. Also, I have an engine mount out. So what I will do is, as you guys may have seen on the Instagram, I'll talk about the Powerflex inserts. So I'm going to put the Powerflex inserts in just to give the engine a bit of stability. So we're going to get less rocking forward and backward inside the engine bay, a bit more tightness overall. I'll show you what else I found. There was a bolt for the water pump. I've had to put a grinder to it. So if you look here, that bolt had been rounded off on the edges. Doesn't help, I had another go at it because I thought, oh no, do you know what, maybe they were doing something wrong. I could see that the bolt was rounded, but I thought I'll try and get it off anyway. Also tried to put the Allen key in the center of the bolt. So if I show you now, these are what the bolts look like. So I need to order some more bolts for the water pump. Yeah, it's just very, very irritating. So 9mm, so they're a 10mm bolt. Cut a slot down the center, 9mm bolt, socket, sorry, hammered it on. You shouldn't do that, but hammered it on, managed to crack that loose. So now I can actually continue with the cam belt and water pump. Get this water pump out now, put the new roller bearings on, new tensioner, new water pump, new cam belt, time it up, get that built back up, and then carry on with the thermostat housing. Also guys, if you look closely, you can see there's been some sort of sealant put on these, so you don't need to use sealant with these coolant pumps on the TFSIs. So someone's loaded it up with sealant as well at some point for some reason. This was in there solid, to be fair. I actually snapped the edge of the coolant pump getting it off, so it's a good thing we're not putting that back in. You should never ever reuse a coolant pump unless you just put it in. Yeah, so new coolant pump, this is what it looks like. Lovely. So fresh coolant pump to go back in. Just got to wait for the bolts to arrive now, which is fairly irritating. So what I will do, I'll put this in place and I will just continue with the thermostat housing. Oh, a nice little twist that's in place properly. Yeah, so I'm going to continue with the thermostat housing now. So this here is a lot easier if you guys get the alternator out first. You can also take off the front throttle tube. But let's see how we get on with this. So there we go, baby. That's our thermostat out. But I mean, in there again, looks like there's had gasket sealant of some sort on that edge. So there it is. We'll put a new gasket, well, not a new gasket, new thermostat back on there. Give that a little clean up in there. Here we go, 3 brand new bolts from TPS for the water pump, and we've got 6 there for the crankshaft pulley. So this job's definitely turned out longer than I expected. It's a little bit irritating, but you know what, it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and cry about it, I'm just gonna crack on. So I'll continue with these bits now, get the water pump bolted down, get the cam belt and stuff fitted back in place, and then yeah, crack on, fill her up, and on to the next. Okay, so I do get a little bit sick of this sometimes. The beginning of that thread, so not the actual bolt itself, but the hole the bolt goes into, the initial part of that seemed pretty messed up. I didn't want to go in by hand initially, so I lined it up as straight as possible and gave it half a turn with a ratchet and it freed up. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't take as much care when they're doing stuff as they should, man, and it ends up people like me or other honest decent working mechanics end up having to deal with the situation, and it's just not nice, man. It's just not nice, man. I'm ready to put the cam belt adjuster on and slide the belt on, and we can get going, baby. Yeah, right. Powerflex insert mounts, Powerflex inserts are now in place. Engine mount is ready to be bolted down. Damn, it's cold, I'm starving. I tend not to eat during the day sometimes because I get so wrapped up in what I'm doing. I really should look after myself more. But yeah, this is definitely taken a lot longer than expected. I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bother doing the transmission mount today. I will do the transmission mount when I do the timing chain and some other bits. We've got a new fuel rail to go on, replacement fuel rail. So this fuel rail is off a BWA engine. They have the rubber pipe as opposed to the banjo bolt you can see down there. So that banjo bolt is very irritating when you have to do your cam follower, because you have to get a special little tool in there. Whereas if you've got it on a rubber pipe, you can just pull the fuel pump off, pull it out of place and replace your cam follower. So this will be getting changed. We've done the mod, the fuel rail mod. So you drill it out to 5mm. There's the piece that I will need to put onto this fuel pump in order to take this fuel rail. And when we do this, I am going to disconnect the inlet manifold. Well, I'm going to remove the inlet manifold. I'm going to do a walnut blast at the same time. We'll test the injectors anyway. These injectors won't be staying in there for much longer, but we're going to test the injectors anyway. We'll do the cam, timing chain, fuel rail, walnut blast injector test, and the engine mount at the same time. So I got my work cut out for me. Damn, it's cold. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna finish putting this back together. I've had enough for one day and I am freezing. So number 1 is a cam belt and water pump. Number 2 is a thermostat. Number 3, timing chain. Number 4, walnut blast. Number 5, balance shaft delete. All of these things will help you in the long term of maintenance and longevity of your engine. And that is it from the Beast Mode Developments YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe and share. Peace.